Ms. Lauren Renee Bree, hi. Lauren, my Michael collection is probably worth millions. You're probably right. But you know, for me, it's worth more than millions because it's my memories that means the most to me. That's why I haven't sold not one thing that I've ever gotten from Michael or gotten that pertains to Michael. Nothing. I've kept every single thing. So so if you see any auctions, none of that stuff is from me because I have everything still right here. I don't even like to put it in storage. I had a lot of this stuff in actual storage, like outside of where I live, and I felt like so nervous the whole time that I had to like go get everything and bring it back. And I'm like, I don't care if I'm running out of space. I just have to have it here with me. So yeah, so I'm all about memories. I get a lot of some negative people who make comments saying, "Oh, you wrote a book all for the money or all for the publicity," and that couldn't be further from the truth. Anyone who really knows me knows that I've never been motivated by money. Money is just not my thing. I'm not materialistic. I don't wear jewelry like ever. My ears aren't even pierced. Sometimes I try to wear a necklace, but it gets on my nerves. But like I don't have on any jewelry because I'm just not into that kind of materialistic stuff. For me, as a Cancer, what I am into and just so passionate about is memories and feelings, like how something made me feel. So a lot of my Instagram posts are long-winded because I want you guys to really get the full picture of whatever the event is that I'm explaining and how I felt and exactly what happened. And I tried to do that in my book as well. So that's really what it was all about for me, the memories and preserving the memories and presenting them to you guys so that you can share them with me. Because prior to this, I was never able to talk about any of this stuff. So it's like a weight has been lifted. So that was my motivation. And it's always my motivation in whatever I do. I'm just not into money. I should be more into money, but I'm just not. That's not my personality. How nervous was I when I first met Michael? Oh my God, it's funny you should ask that. One other thing that I came across just now, I try to get something to show you guys when I come on, and I found anyone who's read my book, I wrote in there that when I first met Michael, which was in 1988 in New York, it was after a bad concert. He performed at Madison Square Garden, and I somehow got into this after party that he was having in his hotel suite at the Hemsley Palace. And actually, if you go online on my website, shanamangatal.com, or even michaelandmebook.com, it'll all go to the same place. If you click on sneak preview, you can read this chapter for free, totally for free. And in that chapter, I wrote that on Michael's coffee table that I was sitting at next to Quincy Jones, there were these buttons that were there by this artist. Oh God, what is his name? Keith. Can't believe I forgot his name. You guys know who created this, right? Who can remember? Anyway, he's a very, very famous artist. He passed away at a very young age, but he was at this party and he spread out these buttons on Michael's coffee table, and I still have them. What is his name? He has a very distinct style. Wait a minute. So yeah, so this is Free South Africa, and this is from Michael's hotel room in 1988, that night that I met him. Free South Africa. And here's another one. Keith Haring. Keith Haring. I see his name written there. Keith Haring. So yeah, here's another one. So And these are all in my 80s box. So this, as I was saying earlier, I used to work at Disney MGM Studios in Orlando. This is my original name tag right there. Did I bring anything? I have this with me. You know me, I'm always going through all my old stuff. I happen to have this envelope from Michael that was delivered to me, like, gosh, I'd say this envelope is about 25 years old, so not too bad a shape, but it's his logo. And it was always exciting whenever I received this, like something with that on it. I always knew something interesting was inside. It always made my heart beat faster when I saw that arrive. Back when I was a teenager in the 80s, we used to wear these buttons like all over our jackets. That was like the style, and I had so many of them. And this is a funny one. This is Jesse Jackson for President button in 1984. Jesse Jackson was running for president, and I still have the button. Yep. And this, look at this. This is a Michael watch from like 1984, and it has him dancing. You see that? It's like from Thriller, and it plays Beat It. So I used to wear this watch when I was like 14. And these buttons, and that was my style. So yeah, so check out that chapter that's free on my website, and you can read all about that night when I first met Michael, and I got these exact buttons that I cherish, and I'll always remember that night whenever I see these buttons. Sophia, you can't buy my book because you don't have a credit card. Well, at least you can read it for free, that one chapter on my website. Totally free. You don't have to do anything. Just click on it. Gary, you want me to show the watch up close? Okay. It doesn't work because I think the battery's dead. This is from 1984, so like, can you see it, Gary? And if you push one of these buttons, it plays Beat It. Thriller was 36 yesterday. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Those were the good old days, man. Michael Mania was everywhere. Like when you went out on the streets, there would be all these vendors selling buttons like this, and just anything they could slap Michael's face on. It was crazy, but it was an amazing time to grow up and be a teenager in the 80s. Did I see Thriller 3D? Yeah, I saw it last Halloween. Not this past Halloween, but the Halloween before that. Michael's estate had a premiere at Mann's Chinese Theater in Hollywood for Ghost and Thriller 3D. So I was able to see Thriller 3D and Ghost on this huge, beautiful screen at the historic Mann's Chinese Theater. The sound was amazing. It was really the best screen you could see any movie on. So can you imagine how amazing that was to see myself up there, and when I was like 20 years ago, and it was just something I never ever thought would happen. So it truly was like a dream to see Ghost finally in that way. Seen Ghost on the big screen because we had a premiere in LA back in 1996, and my parents came. They flew out from I think they were living in Florida at the time, actually. So my parents were there, and it was so wonderful to be able to experience Ghost on the big screen with my parents, because my father passed away in I'd say maybe 13 years ago or so. I can't remember how long it's been, but I'm just so happy that he was able to see that with me and my mother. Yeah, Kit Kat. I do feel lucky to have lived in the 80s. It was a great decade. It was just so much fun. So much fun. And you know, it was kind of innocent. It wasn't like it is now. It's things aren't as innocent anymore. I see things on TV and on the radio that would have never gotten on there back in those days. Yeah. Gary, do I have Indian roots? Mangatal sounds Indian. You know, it is Indian. My grandfather on my father's side was from India, and that's where the last name comes from. So, yep, you're right. Darn it. Wolf Girl, you were born in 1979. You know what? 1979 was one of my favorite years. I don't know why that is, but every time I think of 1979, I think of it with just like such fond memories. I think because, I don't know, disco was like at its height, and actually it was about to go out, but I love disco. I love that whole Studio 54 era. R&B music at that time was awesome. It was great. That was a great year. So you were born in a good year, Wolf Girl. Vanessa, have I ever been to Sweden? No, but I would love to. I went to Norway, and I think that's sort of in the Swedish area. So I love Norway. I love the people there. Everyone is so nice. Just like the most kind people I've ever met are in Norway, so I'm pretty sure Sweden is the same way. And I have a lot of online friends who live in the Netherlands. My friend Nikki Owl is in the Netherlands, and a few others. And gosh, sweet people as well. So I'd love to come to Sweden. I'm sure I'd love it there as well. Do I speak French? I used to. You know, my father was French. He was from Martinique. So that was his language, and I always wanted to be able to speak French, but I only know it from learning it in high school. And I went to France actually to study French. So during that time I knew how to speak French, but I've lost it all, and I really don't remember any of it. So that's terrible because I love that language. It's such a beautiful language. Jahan Lewis, did I have a crush on Michael Jackson? Yeah, I sure did. Michael. Sophia, is it true that Michael smelled like vanilla? No, he didn't. I smelled like vanilla. Maybe you read that last time on here. I used to smell like vanilla. I used to be obsessed with the vanilla scent. So I would have like this. I had this vanilla oil that was from this shop called The Body Shop, and The Body Shop still exists, but they don't sell this vanilla oil anymore. This vanilla oil smelled like, I don't know, it smelled like vanilla extract. It was like pure. So that's what I used to wear like back in the 90s. Michael, on the other hand, he always wore really, really strong perfume, and back when I was dealing with them in the 90s, it was Bala Versailles, which actually smelled like baby powder. And I remember when I first smelled it, I was thinking, oh wow, Michael's wearing baby powder. You know, I didn't think it was perfume. I thought it was baby powder that he was wearing. And for a long while, I just thought it was baby powder that he wore every day, until I found out that it was actually the perfume that he was wearing. Beautiful ones. Yes, I always have been private. You're right. So writing this book was like a big deal, because anyone who really knows me knows that I've always been like very shy and very private, and I've always kept to myself. I've never had a lot of friends. I'm actually still an introvert, which is bad. Like I've become a worse introvert than I used to be. I never leave the house. I never go anywhere unless I have to, do something that I have to do. But if I don't have to do something, I'm home. So I really wish, I need to get out of it, because, it's not good to be alone like I am all the time. Yeah. Yes, Lauren Bree, memories are priceless. And that's why I'm glad I wrote them all down in my diaries. I really stress that you guys should do that too, because if I didn't, there would be no book. My memories would be gone. If I didn't write something down, I honestly have forgotten it. I don't have that great of a memory. So if I don't write something down, I will forget it. So that's why, the stuff in my book is absolutely true, because that stuff comes straight from my diaries that I wrote 30 years ago, 25 years ago, when I was a teenager. I started writing in my diary when I was about 12 all the way up until about 2009. I have like notebooks and notebooks full of songs. Kit Kat, you were born in 1993? Oh wow, that was a crazy year, 1993. Yeah, that was when Michael was going through all those allegations, and wow, that was a crazy year. That was when we filmed Is This Scary? Yeah. And he went on the second leg of the Dangerous tour. Actually, in my book, 1993 is one of the most detailed years that I wrote about, because just so much was going on. Who do you have a crush on too, Sky Janet? Michael? That is who I said I had a crush on, right? Yeah. How can you not? I mean, seriously, how can someone not have a crush on Michael? He's just too cute not to have a crush on. And in person, forget it. And when you're young, because like when I met him, when I first met him, I was 17, and whew, let me tell you, that was, those are magical times. Dee Turner, you actually had to sing to have talent. You're absolutely right. It took a lot. Like when I first moved out here to LA, I came out here with to be a singer, actually, because as I said, I wrote songs, and I came with one of my girlfriends who actually, I met her. She was one of the She's Out of My Life girls at the Bad concert in the Washington D.C. area, and that's how I met my friend that I moved out to, or drove out to LA with to sing with. And I was at the show, at the Bad show, and here this girl goes up on stage, and she is freaking out, like crying so much when she was chosen to be the She's Out of My Life girl. Because back then, Michael brought a fan up on stage for She's Out of My Life, and it wasn't You Are Not Alone, because that song hadn't been written yet. But so that's how I met my friend. Her name was Evelyn. And then we moved out here to LA, wrote our demo as we were driving across the country, wrote it and recorded it in the car on a boombox. And but that's the kind of fun stuff you do when you're young, and you think that anything is possible, and that you have your whole life ahead of you, which you do, and which it is. Anything is possible. That's that kind of attitude you have to have when you're just starting out and you have dreams. You have to really, back then the law of attraction didn't exist, but little did I know, I was always practicing it, because I always had this extreme focus on all of my dreams, and I never doubted that they wouldn't come true. I just knew they would. So, there was just never a doubt in my mind, and that's how I operated. Everything that I did was with this knowledge in my mind that it was going to work out. I was just always positive about everything, never negative, never ever negative. And it's funny, I remember when I came out here, the girl I came out here with ended up moving back to the DC area, and I was in like so many girl groups, which were, singing girl groups. And a lot of them, the girls would be like, Shana, you're too Disneyland, you're too positive and nice, and, we don't relate to you. So that was always my problem. Like, I could never relate to a lot of girls, because I didn't have boy problems. I wasn't in some bad relationship. I didn't have, some guy that was trying to steer me in other directions. I was just always focused on my career and my dreams, and a lot of the girls, they would fall by the wayside, drop out of the group or whatever, because they had these boyfriends who were like, taking their focus away. And I never had that. And I think that's really important. You know, if you really want this, you have to figure out where you put your focus, and don't let anything or anybody deter you. And that, I don't know, I think that's a surefire way to achieve what you want in life. Forever Ina XO, do you know if Michael kept his gifts from overseas and fans? Did he have a room for it? Great question. Yes, he did. At Neverland, he had an entire guest house filled with all of your gifts, all of the fans' gifts that he received. Like if you gave him a gift, like if he was in the car and you gave him something, or if you mailed it to him, or however you got it to him, if he actually got it, he kept it. He never threw anything away. And I was shocked. I was at Neverland once, and I went into this house, which was away from the main house. It was like much further out, but it was like a huge guest house. It is bigger than like most people's actual houses. But that whole entire house was filled with nothing but fan gifts from way back in the 80s. I'm serious. I saw stuff from like the Thriller era in there. He didn't throw it away. So yeah, if you ever gave Michael something, he still had it, probably until the day he passed away, because he just never got rid of anything. And a lot of those books that, you know, that the tabloids were trying to say were bad, you know, with children, a lot of those were given to him by fans, because fans knew that he loved kids. So he would always get these kind of gifts with kids in them. And I saw those books in that house where all of the fan gifts were. So I bet the police like raided that house and got a lot of the books from there, because he kept everything. Wolf Girl, your dad died in February this year, and then your grandmother. My condolences. Yeah, my father passed away, and my grandmother had passed away right before that. And then in 2009, my aunt, who was only in her early 50s, she passed away from cancer. Then Michael passed away, and then my uncle, who was also in his 50s. And they were my two closest aunt and uncle. In fact, my aunt, who took me to New York to see Michael in 1988, that one, Vera, who I dedicated my book to along with my father, she passed away in 2009, right before Michael. So 2009 was just a horrible year. Horrible, horrible, horrible. When did I start writing the book? I started when I was a teenager, because it came from my diaries, which started, the book starts in 1988. And so I just transformed my diaries into the book. So it didn't take long at all when I actually sat down to write the book. It took maybe 2 months. And I'm not even a writer. You know, I did not think I could write a book. I always thought I would have to have a ghostwriter write the thing for me. But I wrote every single word myself. And I was very proud of myself, because I just didn't think I could ever accomplish something like that. I really didn't. So when I got a book deal from these chapters I had written, I was like, what? You know, so sometimes you have talents you don't even know you have. So never count yourself out. You know, don't think you can't do something, because if you just try hard enough, you just might be able to do it and accomplish it. But you know what? The main thing is to be able to focus on it. When I sat down to write that book, I really didn't leave the house. I didn't talk to anyone. It was just all me and my diaries and my life and Michael. And I would have to really pull up the feelings that I had, you know, in each of these memories that I was writing about, because I wanted to convey exactly how I felt in every moment. And I don't know, it was like the universe really helped me there, because I was able to put myself back into that time and that place. It was quite amazing, you know. It was like I don't know, it was like I was being guided by a higher power. Kit Kat, what's my favorite memory with Michael? I have so many. One thing that that I don't usually mention, I usually say that my favorite memory is when I first met him in 1988, because it was just so magical. You know, when you've seen someone, their videos all your life and been to their concerts, and then finally you meet them, and they're like even better than you could have ever imagined. It's magical. But one of my favorite memories while we were filming Ghosts, which I usually forget to mention, but I was just laughing about it the other day. We got kicked off of the set. Michael and I were and I wrote about this. Michael and I were laughing about something, and we were talking, and I don't know, we had just completely forgot that there were other people, that they were like filming a scene not too far away from where we were standing, and we were talking about something and laughing, and you know how loud Michael's laugh is. He was laughing so loud, and which made me laugh loud, and then we were talking about something, and we were being really loud, and I don't know, we just forgot that, you know, people were over there and they were trying to film something. And so Stan Winston, who passed away not long after Michael, he walked over to us and he said, you know, people are trying to film a scene here, you know, please take your conversation outside of the set. And so Michael and I looked at each other. We were so embarrassed, but you know, Michael was so humble. He didn't say anything. He just listened to that director and like walked off the set with me, and we, you know, continued our conversation away from the filming. But that's how down to earth he was. You know, he didn't like say, you know, no, this is my video, I can stand where I want. No, he listened to the director and was like really embarrassed because he didn't realize he was being that loud. But yeah, it's one of my favorite memories. What's my ethnicity, Vanessa? My father was from Martinique, which is a French island. His father was Indian, and my mother is mixed with several things, one of which is black. So I consider myself black, even though I'm mixed with those things. But you know, I identify with the black race most of all, and I'm proud of that. Ken Big Red Scott. Yeah, You Are Not Alone was written by R. Kelly. That's another song that I don't really like, actually. It's too, saccharine sweet. I like the songs with more of an edge. Yeah, you got to ignore the negativity, the so-called haters. I mean, everything I post, every thread, there's at least one person being negative that I have to block. It never fails, and I don't get it. Like, you know, I'm not here trying to hurt anybody. I'm just here trying to share, you know, some happy memories that I've had with a man that, you know, the people that are being negative obviously love, because it's his picture is always their profile pic, and they're the ones that are, you know, usually the most hateful ones. And you know, I'm just trying to spread goodwill and love and positivity and inspire people to go be their dreams, which is what I did, which is how I accomplished, you know, these things that so many people don't think was possible. That's why I get called a liar so often, because, you know, these things, yeah, they seem amazing and unbelievable, but they really did happen. And it's all because I just went after my dreams, and I never gave up, and I was always positive, like I am now. I was even, you know, more so back then because I was more innocent and things, you know, life hadn't happened to me yet. Now I'm a lot more cynical. I've experienced, you know, a lot of the negativity in this world, and which is really depressing to see how nasty some people can be when you're not being nasty to them, you know. you should treat people the way that they treat you. That's how I've always felt. So that it makes me sad just to see, and most of these negative, nasty people are young. That makes it even worse. I would hate, to know that generation is going to grow up and still be that way. When you're young, you should be happy and positive, not hateful. That's your time, to really to be open to life and to the world and to people, and to learn about history, and to learn from people who experience the things that you only dream about. That's what will inspire you and propel you to go after your dreams. Instead of hating on me, ask me how I did it. That's what you should do. I'll tell you, and that's just that's what I always believed in. And so yeah, that's all. I went out with Jordan Knight. How was he? How was his personality and stuff? He was super nice. I will say that. Jordan Knight of New Kids on the Block was super duper nice. I don't know. He came into, when I was working for Michael's manager, he came in for a meeting, I think maybe to be managed by us. And we just sort of connected, right away. And he started calling me. And we would talk. We'd have long conversations. And he was just so nice, so down to earth. And, for me, I was never like a big New Kids on the Block fan. I'm not a big New Edition fan. For me, it was Michael and the Jackson 5. So any boy group that came after that, I wasn't really into. So, but Jordan Knight, I always thought he was cute. And then when he came into our office and he met me, and I thought he was really cute and charming. And so then he asked me out on a date. And I was like, okay, you don't really turn Jordan Knight down for a date. And we went to Jerry's Deli in Sherman Oaks on Ventura Boulevard, which is still there, by the way. A lot of the Jerry's Delis have closed down in LA, but the one that we went to on our date is still there. It's on Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, and we went there. And actually, he had like a road manager / manager with him named Miguel, and he went with us. So it was the three of us. So it wasn't just like the two of us. It was the three of us on this date. And we just talked, and he was a sweetheart, Irma. He really was. And then after that, he called me, and we would talk, but then he went back to Boston, which is where he was living at the time, and, I was in LA, so, we really didn't see each other. I actually don't think I ever saw him again after that night, but we did talk on the phone, but he was in Boston the whole time we were talking, so, he was a nice guy. I'll see you guys soon, okay?